Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Astrology with Ethan podcast. Today, we are talking about one of my favorite topics in the astrological world, astro-drama or astro theater. And we are doing it today with a beloved friend and collaborator of mine, Jacinta Maxwell, who has actually put on a few astro-drama events and workshops with me. So today we're going to talk all about this art and practice of astro-drama and how you can start exploring it wherever you are in the world. So first of all, Jacinta, welcome. Can you share a bit about yourself and what got you into this magical craft with the audience?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ethan, for introducing me. I'm Jacinta, and I'm a practitioner in theatre. I particularly love physical theatre, and in my work, I do theatre with people with disabilities, and we also do a lot of physical theatre in that. And I'm a lover of astrology, just like Ethan. We began doing Astro drama because on Ethan joined on a project of mine. We were doing a play called The Moon Phases in Me. It was like a short play that we were showing snippets of. And yeah, it was The Moon Phases in Me, which is a funny beginning for us. And then
Yes.
and then we just got talking one day because there was a podcast episode on the astrology podcast about astrodrama. And
Mm.
Ethan had sent it to me and I'd listened to it. And then we were talking in my kitchen. And yeah, we were like, oh my God, we should do. We just started dreaming about what are the possibilities. And yeah, as always, our dreams get bigger and bigger. And yeah, that's kind of where Astro Drama was born, and also a bit about who I am. So
Yes, yes.
yeah.
I distinctly remember being in your kitchen talking about astro drama, which, just to define this term a bit more, is the practice of using drama. So that's theater or any form of movement and embodiment to actually see astrology come to life. And so when we were doing this play, which revolved around the subject theme of the moon, we were already sort of tapping into that. And then via that project, the muses whispered this process of astrodrama into our world, and we really ran with it and started doing it and experimenting, and we still are, and we're learning so much. So, what do you
Yeah.
think, Jacinta, as a practitioner of theater, as a lover of astrology, what is the benefit of actually embodying astrology, of actually seeing it physicalized?
Right. Well, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of benefits to it. I think that my favorite one, or the most important to me, is bringing down the energy of astrology that we talk about in astrology and bringing it into our bodies. And I think that talking about astrology is wonderful, and I love to talk about astrology, but we do a lot of that. And it's all really intellectual. And to have an opportunity to, with intention, bring that energy into our bodies and see how we behave and how does that physicalize? It is so exciting. And it also just, it seems to stretch the possibilities of who we think that we are, like who we allow ourselves to be. So it's very exciting. And then from there, you get an opportunity to be silly and to play and to express yourself and also learn about astrology. We learn so much about astrology. And my favorite parts is when new findings of astrology kind of pop up organically, or they reflect what we've already been taught, and or we talk about, and we're like, oh, this just came up because we were dancing it, which is really the
Yeah.
magic of astro drama.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. And we forget too that when astrology was emerging thousands of years ago, the night skies were so much more visible, and the lived experience of not being with so much technology and not such enormous civilizations really gave people, I'm only assuming, that direct embodied connection with the cosmos that allowed so much of these messages of astrology to be revealed to them, right? And I love astrodrama because it's a similar, almost ancient act or process of choosing to exist in this sacred space that honors the cosmos and reveals their knowledge through the body. And like that's what we've been so fascinated by with this process, is that just through the body, you can really tap into these Gnostic, mystical notions of as above, so below, as the macrocosm exists in the microcosm. So by using this microcosm of the body, we actually begin to access something macrocosmic, something greater, which I just think is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. When things start to, because one of our goals for when we do astro drama is for kind of just like the ancient astrologers, for knowledge to kind of come up from the unconscious, or without you even knowing it. For example, my favorites are when people come in and they knew nothing about astrology, and then they start reflecting things about astrology. It's like it came
Mhm.
up uh, from being a part of this universe. Like, yeah, but being the microcosm in the macrocosm.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, one of the ways that we have set this up is that we really have just been doing these workshops, right? Where people come and there's a topic set for the night, usually based around a particular planet. So, our last planet was Mercury. And the first half of the class usually focuses on actually becoming Mercury, on actually becoming the planet or the god. And we instill these different embodiment techniques that allow people to bring out that energy, that archetype in their own way. And then we have a reflection session afterwards where people are able to discuss their findings. Right. And so that's what Jacinta's speaking to about. We put people in these scenarios where then they are able to actually have that experience of Mercury, translate from the body into words. Yeah.
Yeah, so we love to use music and lighting and props and anything that we can to make this experience as full as possible. It's kind of like a social experiment.
Yeah, and the name of our group is actually Astro-Drama Labs. So it is a lab.
Astro-Drama
It
Lab.
is
Yeah,
it is a
it's an
total
experiment.
experiment. It is a total experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to, jumping back to before, I wanted to acknowledge that the Astro Drama wasn't born with us, but Astro Drama Labs was born in that kitchen. But Astro Drama began in the 70s, was it? The
Yeah.
group? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So,
so important to acknowledge the history of
yeah.
astrodrama. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for hitting on that because we really adapted this idea that's been out there, yeah, since about the 60s or 70s, which is formally called astrodrama. And what it was in that mid 20th century period, practitioners of drama were beginning to play with psychodrama, which is where you actually intend to act out the psyche of an individual. And so the purpose of that workshop is to actually kind of give a therapy session through embodiment and drama. So from psychodrama came astrodrama because a lot of astrology that was being practiced in that period was mainly psychological astrology. So it was looking at, how do the different planets and signs represent different aspects of, our psyche. And so those two movements of the astrology and the psychodrama really came together and birthed this practice that, yeah, is practiced all over the world, albeit there isn't a ton of research that I found on it. There's a lot of books that
Yeah.
cost, I don't know, upwards of $200 that you have to purchase on Amazon to learn about it. So it is still an activity that I think is finding its way to the masses. It hasn't really, reached much publication beyond like recently Chris Brennan and the astrology podcast, which is how we found out about it. But yeah, needless to say, it has been in the works for a long time. And arguably, they were doing astrodrama, back in ancient Greece,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
rituals, with offerings to the gods, to the planets. So this practice is ancient if we really think about it that way.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Well, it's another way to explore astrology. It's just like us talking about it. Embodying it is a valid way of learning and engaging with astrology.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And before we share a little bit more about sort of how we've been structuring these classes and what we've been finding, I also want to acknowledge, just while we're talking about this sort of ancient aspect to this practice, that I saw a post, I think it was last night, that said, listen up, tarot readers and astrologers, AI is coming for your job. And very well, I myself have used online tarot readings, online astrology readings from, just typing in a question and getting an answer. And so to further that point that this is, a valid way of exploring astrology, if we are moving into a world that's more technologically driven in the astrological community, then astrodrama is really the sacred space where we get to reconnect with the humanity of astrology. Because I think so often we can think of, all these technicalities and all these equations and all of these, mathematics that go into astrology. But when you strip it all down in astrodrama, you're really just exploring the human experience through astrological language. And I think that's what can be so healing and transformative about it, is that we're
Mm.
not, secret keepers with all these secret equations about how the cosmos work. Like we are
Yeah.
literally starting with the human being and working backwards to include the whole cosmos, which I just really love.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens through the body that we experience it. And also, I think it's really cool because it makes astrology an ever-changing thing. Astrodrama, it's like it is live. It's what are we discovering right now? And it keeps astrology fresh. Astrology is constantly alive and we're constantly observing it. It's not everything that people said thousands of years ago. It is that plus what is happening now. And astrodrama holds it in the right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, it's funny because we both share a background in drama and we both have a love for astrology. But Jacinta, I really feel like is more like the drama brain because she's like a full-time actor and director. And I'm doing more kind of full-time astrology work right now. So, Jacinta, I would love to hear from you just why you think drama goes with astrology or like why, I don't know, why drama maybe serves a similar purpose to astrology, which I feel like we both agree is really to do with
Mhm.
healing and transformation and self-expression. Like I'd love for you just to speak to why drama works with this ancient
With
craft.
astrology.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because yeah, my through recent well, in the recent years into drama. My main throughway into it has been through physical theatre. Uh, and I think without my relationship with physical theatre, I don't think I would have come so fully to AstroDrama. I think that it works so well because both drama and astrology, they're about your human experience and the different ways that humans can be and what emotions and what can we care about, what can we worry about, what is everything that we can experience in this human experience, and let's replay it and let's play with it and find out more about it. Both drama and astrology is just like that. It's a study of humans.
Mm,
But
mm,
through putting it in your body and acting it out. Uh, and yeah, so combining those, I guess with drama, you really discover a lot about yourself uh, through your relationships to different experiences that you're experiencing and or I'm saying experiencing over and over, but yeah, through your relationship to all these different parts of yourself. I think that we can hold kind of every part of the human experience, but some people hold it more. But how can we step into these different shoes?
mm,
Yeah. I'm
mm.
sorry.
No, no, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I think they both just, yeah, allow us to explore into all these different ways of being ourselves. And what can that look like? And what are these untapped parts of myself that I can dive into through astrology or through drama or through the both of them?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I think what astrology and drama also both have in common, and you've already hinted at this, said it in a different way, but
Mm,
they're both forms of externalization. So when we are talking about our birth chart, we're externalizing, we're objectifying something that's very murky and subjective by bringing into the outside. It becomes more tangible, more objective, and then we're able to digest life easier. It doesn't become so wrapped up on the inside. It becomes something true and real and tangible on the outside.
mm, mm. And also, you get to go and live that out. And I like that we can use associations with what is deeply inside of us and is murky and confusing. We can use um, zodiacs, for example, or we can use different associations like water flowing and all types of symbology, which allow us to live it out and live that feeling, that confusing feeling, and put it into a different way. And yeah, combine can just turn it into art and experience it
Mm,
fully again through art.
mm. And I think it's also really helped me as a reader doing astrodrama because it's really a similar process to embody astrology and to read a chart because you are in some cases in our classes, and we'll get into this in a second, sort of how we're running them, but we will have activities or we will have words or texts that sort of prompt movement. And while that's happening in the body, when you're an astrologer, that's happening in the mind. You know, you're seeing a chart and it's putting so much stimulation into your mind. So to be able to take that and put it into the full body, it allows you to really explore the whole range of an archetype, right? It allows you to explore the full range of something rather than sort of staying at just that surface level association with a particular archetype. It allows you to ask all these different questions of it. And
Mm.
I think that astrology, if you take it as a mode of self-inquiry, it's like that's what we have to do when we're self-inquiring, when we're self-reflecting, and when we're doing that work on ourselves, is we have to explore all of the ranges that we house inside of ourselves. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that reminds me of a time where you and I were rehearsing for an AstroDrama lab, for the Mercury one in your
Mm,
backyard.
mm.
Uh, and I can't remember exactly, we were acting out, actually, yeah, we were acting out each other's Mercury signs. And we set
Yes.
it up with different scenarios. So each of us would give the other one a scenario and throw that out to them while they're in this character of the zodiac. And then they get to explore all these different scenarios, and just you have the time and freedom to play and explore all of that. And by the end of it, we were laughing and we had felt so seen in all these
Yeah.
different ways. We didn't just touch on it by uh, by in just the surface level through some words. We got to see it and live it out. And yeah, it was so hilarious to like have yourself represented on stage.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So maybe we should get in then to talking a little bit about how we practice astrodrama because it's really quite an open-ended field. There are many ways to do astrodrama, but I would say the most traditional or the most acknowledged in the astrological community is actually when people will take on that psychodrama paradigm and they will actually act out different parts of a birth chart. So one person might be the sun, another person might be the moon, and another person might be the rising. And together, they are simply trying to act out, that chart in action.
Mm.
So we have done a little bit of that, a little bit of psychodrama where we've acted out the birth chart. But mainly because we're still developing our astrodrama practice, we've really been focusing on exploring each planet one by one and using the planet as sort of a guideline for embodiment, exploration, and inquiry. So,
Mm.
do you want to sort of talk more to that about like what exactly we've been up to and how a typical workshop unfolds with us?
Mhm. Well, so you talking about the psychodrama, a pattern of ours has been to end in that through these skits. But how we get to that uh, is super important to the process because I mean the question that we try and pose to people who come to our workshops is how do you embody the moon or be the moon? What a question is that? So so we acknowledge that that is wild. And so that is so yeah, I guess we begin by looking at the planet um and trying to evoke the sense of the planet and literally feel it inside of ourselves. So we love guided meditations. Uh yeah, we love guided meditations, and taking us to completely different spaces and trying to strip ourselves of the human body, often in these meditations and kind of reduce ourselves to just stardust.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then begin and to feel like I guess we create like a kind of story about where you might be. I'm thinking about the Moon Lab right now, and we
Hmm.
want to have our participants in kind of a womb moon space. We thought that that would help to evoke a sense of the moon and uh, yeah, and then from there we have different activities to continue to evoke different parts of the planet that we're looking at. Um, yeah, so we've done different things like message relays, I remember in our Mercury, and that was a lot of turning text or a message into how do you put that into the body? How do you express that through the body? And we've done a lot of that actually. We've also done that through having the participants write poetry, and then move that into the body, and or we've taken a spell and they've created movements off of that. So
Mm,
yeah, how do you we use we often use different stimulus that we can give, like words or artwork, to give the participants just associations or whatever they feel and can gather personally from that stimulus, and then let's just translate that, so let's move in that way, and then we'll put on music and we'll guide them through different scenarios.
mm,
um yeah. So that's, and then also we look at the zodiac signs.
mm,
So we love to use kind of the creatures of the zodiac as our stimulus, and become them, because they're the original kind of symbol of what Aquarius is or what Libra is. That's the original symbol. So what can we gather from that,
mm.
and become that, and then put them into different human scenarios? So like going to work or having a meeting. So we've had crabs and bulls having a meeting discussing finances.
Yeah, and sometimes the situations they're in are inspired by the houses. So we've also
Yeah,
had a ram and scales together in jail when we did the 12th house.
which was so cool. And then we got to see like the Libra and Aries relationship together in the sun. Uh yeah, but then in the 12th house, how do they deal with being imprisoned? Yeah, but I guess our through line is often embodiment, and kind of starting quite simply, stripping back what we know, uh, and it's like
Mm,
begin as a star, begin as just stardust, and then we'd slowly add in more, uh, and different aspects of that planet, and layer it. And then hopefully by the end, when we start to, we often do skits at the end, but we're exploring different ways as well. But hopefully by the end, they've gained such a spectrum of experiences of how to be the moon or the sun, of of any planet, and that they can draw on those experiences and bring them back. And yeah, and we hope for our participants to continually build on that and use what they've learned in our workshops to to be able to embody the moon or the sun. And yeah, that's
yeah.
often how we do it.
Yeah. Oh, I really love how you said that. It really is about that initial clearing and letting
Mm.
go of everything we carry as humans and
Mhm.
letting our perceptions sort of, fade away, our conscious perceptions. Because very similar to giving an astrological or tarot reading, that's something that allows the magic to unfold is we have to hang up our everyday perceptions of who we are and how time and space works. And we have to kind of go to that timeless, spaceless zone where anything is possible. And I think that's really where the labs begin. And then, as you said, we use, everything from ancient astrology to current astronomy to kind of evoke the significations of a planet. And then by becoming that planet, we usually will work with, as you said, the zodiac, but it'll oftentimes be somebody's personal zodiac placement, right? So if you have a moon in Gemini, you might start the night as the moon and then come into Gemini throughout the night. And then by the end, you've left with a deeper connection to your own personal moon in Gemini.
Mm,
In some other classes, you might embody somebody else's moon in Scorpio, and you might actually perform that back for them, and they might get to see that and then go, oh my gosh, now I can see my moon in Scorpio. So it allows you to learn your own chart. I think it allows you to learn other people's charts. And
mhm,
more than anything, if astrology isn't, your number one interest, as many people who walk through the door, it's just, a hobby or something that they're, sort of fascinated by. What I think astrology and thus astrodrama can do is it can really open us to this world that our ancestors were living in, that is this mythic, this poetic, this archetypal zeitgeist of which so
mm,
many of the world's great stories, heroes, um, mythic figures come from. And that, as an artist and as a culture, as a culture at large, is so important to hold in our minds, an image, a cosmology, a sense of where we are in relationship to all that is. So I think astrology provides that individually, but then also on a more collective level, it has the power to really yeah, ignite a passion for culture and for, as you've been saying, to bring the ancient culture, the ancient vision, um, into the modern one. When theater makers put on old works, they're never putting on exactly what was done in the
mm,
time it was written. They're always updating it and adding, new images, new textures, new gradients. And very
mm,
similar with astrodrama, we are doing that with astrology, where it's like we're bringing these ancient significations into a modern space and
mm,
re-realizing them. And hopefully what that does for people is, just like putting on um, an ancient play, you're getting to connect to something that has come long before you
mm,
and has continued and repeated, that you're then able to breathe new life into. And
mm,
astrology is to me a form of myth, but it's unique in that it's a myth that directly corresponds with nature, with the cosmos, with something that is visible, that is living, that is alive with us. So
mm.
that's also where this magic of embodiment really comes in, is that we actually are living side by side with this enormous um literal constellation of planets, of stars, of colors and textures um and really just
Mm.
magic, that we get to live in.
Yeah. And like drama began, or a big part of drama's beginning was connecting with the gods and bringing the gods onto earth and yeah, and because that's what the people loved, so there was a form of of loving them, and in a more, I guess, magical sense, if you're interested, it's a way to connect with the gods associated with astrology, or the zodiac gods, or it's a way to actually kind of give to them,
Mm,
and reinforce your connection with them. It's also a spiritual practice. I think that people interested in like witchcraft, or people interested in just like working with deities, I think that astro drama is um an exciting concept, because it can be also taken further into more gods or more myths that you're interested in. Um, and a way to continue your practice and connection with spiritual beings that you connect with.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I think that's also why we haven't, fully committed to, say, a psychodrama model of our astrodrama, is because we see the value in it also as ritual. and as an experience that allows, through movement, through embodiment, through some acting, through art making, through poetry, it allows something greater to be evoked and to be felt, which of course it can in a more formal performance. But there's something about going through the steps of a workshop and just being engaged with the present moment and letting every exercise bring forward its own information. That's, I would say, equally as magical as kind of witnessing a performance of astrodrama. You're actually getting to be in it and getting to feel,
Mm.
yeah, all the different permutations of astrology.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And we did have a night where we did have groups of three put on performances as the sun, moon, and ascendant. And that was really
yeah.
interesting because while we tend to focus one planet at a time, this seeing three astrological phenomena combine on stage was really interesting. Do you want to recall any of your favorite moments from that or reflections that
Yeah.
came? Yeah.
Yeah, so we had people act out. We had the sun, moon, rising of a particular audience member. So they got to watch like the different parts of themselves try to figure out a problem. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, a beautiful one was, well, we had one where we had two Pisces, and then what was we had two little fish, and
And
it was in
Leo. It
search
was Leo and double
and Leo.
Pisces.
Two,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We had two Pisces and a Leo. So we had two little fish. And we had the audience member come up with a question that they were in search of. And this one was in search of love. And we got to see this beautiful little dance of these fishes and in search of love, in search of something. And then the story ended with the fish actually finding self-love and just love within the self. And yeah, that was a beautiful moment. And yeah, I remember Angela, she loved that one. Yeah, but we also had we had, I remember a Sagittarius little butterfly with a bell that
Yeah.
that signified bringing forth a magical little dream because your Sagittarius self loves to dream bigger, and that was a question of should I stay in my job and keep working like
Mm.
a regular job, or should I go out and should I travel? And so we had this funny little Sagittarius butterfly, and then a more grounded, I think I must have been a Taurus bull, or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that was really special. And I just remember the participants, they really, they'd said that they'd felt really seen, and they were often funny little uh synchronicities
Think
that popped up that night, actually, that people would say, oh, that's funny because this little prop that had been used shows up in my life here. And yeah, it really highlights the magic of astrodrama. All the synchronicities that happen, showing us that, yeah, we're seeing our lives reflected back to us. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it was a really
Yeah.
special night. Yeah.
Yeah, that really was. And I think there was so much value in getting to not only see your own chart played out by somebody else, but then getting to play in somebody else's chart, to step into a world you know nothing about, right? Which is very much the drama aspect, stepping into a completely different set of shoes and walking in them. And that reciprocity between being the chart and seeing the chart was really magical to witness. And maybe that's something we should sort of finish up with is what, the benefits of this practice are, and maybe even some advice on how people could start exploring it wherever they are. Because obviously, unless you're living in Brisbane, Australia, do you have an AstroDrama group that meets up once a month that you can come attend?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
starting with why do this practice? What are the outcomes we've seen? And then, what advice for practicing it yourself?
Mm. Well, this practice, I think a huge part about it is a lot of self-love, actually. Um, I remember someone saying that this part about themselves, that was kind of being expressed that night. It was the Mercury night,
Mm,
and their way of communication that they they didn't feel, yeah, they'd expressed that they felt very seen on the stage, and they saw that part about themselves that they hadn't had a great relationship with before, and they saw it in a really lovable sense. And that was so gorgeous. And to watch you parts of yourself on stage, how could you not love it?
yeah.
We love the characters that we put on stage. So yeah, exploring the self, and through giving it attention, you give it love. And
Mm,
I think it gives love also to all ways of being. And
mm.
and yeah, it's like we're all different, and we can get frustrated by the different ways that each other acts. But by exploring it, we can just create more understanding of ourselves and everyone else. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I so love that. And I so agree. I mean, I think that that is such a central value to you and me, but a value that we've seen come out of this for people is more understanding of each other, of themselves, and more expression, more ability to express. I feel like the number one feedback we've gotten by the end of the lab is I feel more free than when I walked in. I feel like I'm more able to just fly my freak flag, and there's also, of course, the if you are seeking to learn more about astrology, this is an epic way, to learn about it by embodying
Yeah.
it, by actually seeing it played out. And my advice for really starting this on your own is, first of all, just try embodying your own astrology. Just try one day getting up, looking in the mirror, and acting out your Leo sun, or,
Yeah.
or just
Yeah.
externalizing your Pisces moon, like watching yourself even when are in one of these states that can really allow you to understand it better. Start by witnessing yourself. I mean, I think we're actually ironically doing astrodrama all the time because we're living every day and we
Yeah.
are experiencing
Yeah.
ourselves, and then we're reflecting on the horoscope. So we are doing it every day, whether you like it or not. But I think to
Right
come
now.
to come together with friends and in a community and to really even just talk about astrology is such a first step in starting astrodrama, because you're already starting to kind of acknowledge differences and similarities. And
Mm,
I think this goes hand in hand with everything we've been saying, but astrodrama is just such an incredible way of community building in that
mm,
way, because it
mm,
it allows connections to be made where maybe they wouldn't have been made,
mm.
previously.
And yeah, a lot of people's intro into astrology, you hear all the time, well, I don't understand how I'm this sun. I don't really relate to that. That can be a big thing. Um, so and astrology, it changes over your life. Like I think that
Mm,
your sun sign might come out more as you grow older, and so if there's some part of your chart that you wish to evoke more or to harness more, then astro drama is a fantastic way to explore that part of yourself, and perhaps put it into like put it into a bull, right? And make it a big creature, and then you kind of get these little senses of it, of from the big crazy image of a bull, and then you get
Mm,
senses from yourself from that. So yeah,
yeah.
it's a great tool for self-exploration.
Yeah, yeah. And astrodrama, just like astrology, I really love to think of as externalization. And that's, I think, what an artist is here to do, you know? It's here to materialize something from the inside, to share it with the outside. And astrology just seems to be this really wonderful catalyst for doing that, for bringing the inside to the outside. You know, it's
Mm,
a heuristic, it's a tunnel, it's a portal from inside to outside. It's one lens we can sort of put on our light and see new images come through. So that's why, you know, I would encourage this practice is really to um, help yourself more as an artist, help yourself more explore who you are, because I think we're all artists at the end of the day. We all have something to share. We all have something to say that's deeply unique to us. And
mm,
astrodrama is just a way of embodying that can really move it from the inner to the outer, which is why I find it so
mm.
exciting.
Mm,
Yeah.
absolutely. And yeah,
Yeah.
if you wanted to start your own Astro drama practice, a little group where you are, I would say, uh, well, for us, we really went through our like ourselves. What do we bring? And what do we know? And so if someone else were to look at Astro Drama, well, they'd bring all of their life experiences to that. And for me, physical theatre, who I practiced with Zen Zo,
Mm,
and they've taught me so much of what I love to use in Astro Drama. I brought some of those teachings. And use them in astrdrama. But yeah, I would first look at what do you have? What do you bring to astrodrama? Because excitingly, that would open up a whole new box. Yeah,
right.
but otherwise, for drama and bringing it with astrology. Yeah, I guess I look at also what you're interested in astrology. What are the questions you have, and maybe seek to answer them through drama.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you might come from more of an improv background. You might come from like a choir background. You know, you could do astro drama just by singing. I mean, like there's so many ways
Yeah.
of entry to this craft, and it all depends, as you said, on what you personally feel connected to, and of course have questions about, like what is going to
Yeah.
drive your research and your craft. So I
Mm.
think that's a good place to plug that if you are in the Brisbane, Australia area, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, anywhere around, this Sunday, June 14th, we are having in Brisbane a whole lab devoted to Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, and connection. And we'll be exploring Venus as a planet, as a goddess, and as a transit through Leo. So if you're in Brisbane,
Mm.
come by, meet me and Jacinta, come work with us. It's going to be so lovely and so rejuvenating and honestly like a little spa day, I want to say. It's going to be like a spa day, but with
Yes,
drama and
Friday.
with lots of heat because of Venus going into Leo.
Yeah, lots of love and well, yeah, come and welcome Venus moving into Leo. That's going to be super exciting. So come find out what that's going to be like or how that relates to you. I think is a really exciting thing that we're going to explore this time with the Venus Lab. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's going to be gorgeous.
Awesome. Yay. Well, I think that is the time we have for today. So amazing having you on the podcast, Jacinta. Where can people find you and Astro Drama Labs on social media?
Yeah, so well, thank you, Ethan, for having me. That was so much fun, and I love chatting with you. And it's always super exciting. I feel the lights in my eyes just light up. It's so interesting. You can find me. I have Instagram, Jacinta_Maxwell is my Instagram, and yeah, I also help to run the Astro-Drama Labs Instagram. So go and follow that one. That's a really great place to see and learn more about Astro-Drama. And if you're in Brisbane or nearby, then you can find out when our events are on. Yeah.
At AstroDrama Labs on Instagram. Yeah,
Uh, exactly. Exactly.
beautiful,
Well, thank
beautiful.
you, Ethan.
Thank you, Jacinta, and thank you everyone for watching. We hope you get out there and do some Astro drama, whether it's with us in Brisbane or wherever you are in the world, that you research more into this craft and share it with your community.
Yeah. Yay.
Thank you guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.